Welcome to Friday Value Video. And last week we talked about psychosomatic and how the brain or the mind can kind of mess with us. Well, I want to kind of stay on that vein, but use a different term this week, and it's called disorder thinking. I had the distinct pleasure of teaching a class on the history of psychiatry and mental health in my online academy some time ago. And that got me thinking, no pun intended, that it would be a good thing to share a little about disordered thinking and how that can be a core issue of a lot of the problems that we deal with, like depression and anxiety. So, let me give you some examples. Disordered thinking is my headache could be brain cancer. Everyone is out to get me. No one understands how I feel. I'll never be able to lose weight or get well or be out of debt or find a mate or have friends or own a house or get a decent car or find a job. Now, I do want to share some things a little different of these, but before you get defensive, please hear me out. Your thinking processes can create problems or solve problems. Have you ever heard of that saying, as a man thinketh, so is he, or as a woman thinketh, so is she? Rational thinking is possible for everyone. Now, I'm not saying everybody's thinking irrationally, so don't hear what I'm not saying. But you have rational techniques for dealing with problems. The issue is sometimes we don't learn to apply them. Now, how a problem is perceived is very much more powerful than the problem itself. Now, I want you to understand, I led a support group for women who had experienced abuse, and I did that for 25 years. So I am painfully aware of the issues that people can have to battle. The point is, if your thinking processes are rational, you'll have victory over the battle. If your thinking processes tend to exaggerate or overgeneralize or use a term called absoluteness, then that can lead to erroneous conclusions. So here's an example of what I mean. You get bumped into while you're standing in the pouring rain, waiting to cross the street. Your lunch and your bag end up in a puddle. You immediately feel outraged. Now, not everybody would, but the average person would. You turn to see it was a blind person struggling to find their way across the street safely. Now, I expect you would no longer feel outrage if you did, but you would feel compassion. Your entire perception of the event would have completely changed, but the circumstances didn't change. Your lunch and your bag are still soaked, sitting in a puddle. So, perception really does color how we feel. So, what if instead of saying, my headache could be brain cancer, maybe I'm dehydrated. I didn't drink enough water. Maybe I need to rest. There are different reasons for headaches. And a lot of the times it's just a simple thing of dehydration or a lot of stress. The everyone is out to get me. I used to make the patients laugh in the clinic when I would walk around, and I had this on my phone, and it said, be an inverse paranoid. Everyone is out to help me. That's a different perception, don't you think? How about this one? No one understands how I feel. This is why support groups are so valuable, because you're with other people who have experienced similar traumas, similar events in their life. So they do know how you feel. It does help to be around people who understand how you feel. Expecting everyone to understand how you feel is unrealistic, because if they haven't ever experienced what you're experiencing, it's going to be kind of difficult for them to understand. So just know that it doesn't mean nobody cares about you. And then this whole I'll never be able to. These are absoluteness. These are disordered thinking. The word never is never accurate. There's always something that can be done. There's always something that can change. There's always a way to look at things better. It's all about your perception. All right. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next week.